Hello, church. It's good to be with you all today, giving you some information. Brian gave us his shirt to remind us that we are Southwest. Thank you for that, Brian. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm glad to see that you and I are both staying inside and getting a little shaggy.
Yes.
But that's good. That's the gift that we give to everyone. And I don't guess we have a choice. I guess we could let our wives cut our hair, but
I guess we don't have a choice.
I guess I love my wife too much to let her do that. How's that? And I'd like to keep her. So, man, I'm excited about what we're going to do here in a minute. We have, I mean, you know this. We have so many just uniquely gifted people in our church, and I mean, unique gifts, like gifts that you won't see anywhere else. And today, Brian, one of those gifted, and let me lean on that word again, uniquely gifted people in our church is Brad Thacker. And
Yes.
so, yeah, Thacker's going to
We
be
are
with
so
us.
excited. And I like your description. We have truly special people in our church. And so
Special.
today we wanted to invite Brad in this morning to
Come on
share
in, Brad.
one of those special gifts with the body. So come on in, Brad.
Welcome, Brad Thacker, to the room, to the midweek update. We're glad that you could join us today. We're talking about Brian. He has incredible gifts. Brad, thanks for being here.
Hey, guys, I appreciate you having me. I do. This is a big
Well,
deal.
It's special for all of us to get to see your face, man, but we're very excited to hear your voice.
Yeah,
Oh.
and this song that you've prepared, and I know you spend a lot of time writing this song as you've done writing other songs for our church. So appreciate that, and we're ready. We're ready to hear it. We're kind of like your concert venue right here. So bring it. You ready?
Appreciate it, guys. I'm glad you're ready. All right, this song comes from the heart. All right, guys, I appreciate it. Hey, soon, don't let me down. I have a call I need to jump on now. Well, I think I put the right code in. When I join, I don't know who anyone is. Hey, Zoom, unmute my line, please. I have something to say, but no one can hear me. While you're at it, please unmute Jim. His barking dog is wearing me thin. You kick me out, won't let me in. Hey, Zoom, what gives? Just need you to please take a chance on me. And I must tell you, I'm a webinar pro. You know it's true. I'm all business, even though I've got no pants on me. Yeah, I need everybody to sing along. Na, 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 na. Jesus. Na, 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 na. Na, na, na. Jesus. Zoom, 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 zoom. Woo.
Wow, that was
Hey, guys.
something.
That
was
my word exactly. Something.
something.
Thanks, guys.
I am not often struck speechless, but Brad, that is wow. And you worked a long time on that, right?
I did. It was a while.
I feel like you probably worked as long on that one as you have on other songs you've sung for us.
Thanks, Brian.
It is.
That means a lot.
Yeah.
It is incredible to me how you use your brain.
Yeah, I know, and it me too. It's just, it blows my mind when
I
I
did. You just
sometimes.
you push me to prayer for your family.
I'm so glad.
Right.
I'm so glad. So glad. It
Yeah.
came
It was
right here.
it was
Right here,
very
guys.
moving.
Right here.
Like I really wanted to move.
Yeah. I've
That's
been thinking
gone.
about moving too.
Totally,
But say, hey,
totally understand.
Brad, thank you. I hope that your songwriting career is useful
It-
to our church.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Thanks
Love
for
ya.
thanks
Brad,
for
you're
being
the
with us.
best. Thanks for blessing us like this.
Church,
See you,
love
man.
you. Love you, church.
Okay, that was fun, wasn't it? But we've got some other things to talk about. So let's get into our updates for the week. Brian, first, our office updates, just to let you know, and there's not much of an update right now, just that the office is still closed. We're still listening to what our city health authorities and our city leaders are telling us. Until that they direct us differently, we've been asked to stay at home, and so we're doing everything we can from home. Of course, staff is popping in when they need to, when they have things at the office they have to do there that they have to do from there. Our worship service for this Sunday will still be online, and we're trying to figure those things out as we're going along.
Yeah, and y'all probably watch the news. I've talked to many of you that are encouraged to see that the state of Texas is beginning to think about how we can slowly open things up. And so we, of course, are doing our best at discerning how to slowly open our church families' worship practices back up. And so, but we've got lots of factors there. We want to do what's most loving to our community, what's most loving to each other and the different people groups among us. And so I really just want to appeal to everybody to pray for our leadership as we discern what to do. Pray that we can do it, but then pray that we do it really well and in a way that God wants us to in these circumstances.
Right.
And meanwhile, and this is a part of this, we want to continue to figure out how to bless our city, not just in our gatherings, but while we're not gathering.
Right. And so we're blessing our city already. We have been through our food giveaways that are continuing. But this last week, Kyle reached out to the mayor, to Mayor Nelson, who's a friend of ours, who's been in our church and shared her vision for the city, and who's a believer in Jesus. And we really like that mayor. And he asked her, what are the things the body of Christ can be doing to help our city in from your view? And she said, and I want to quote her, she said, "I need people to choose to wear masks." And, for some of us that's like, oh, that feels so weird. I'm going out, I'm going to the grocery store, I'm going to the post office or wherever, and I'm wearing this mask and it feels weird because I'm healthy, I'm all right. But she reiterated that it is an act of love when we wear a mask out in public, when we're around people at all. It is love, and it's just like love in that sometimes it feels crazy. When we do things out of love, sometimes it feels like we're outside our minds. But in this case, wearing a mask is love for others. It's love for our older community, our more at-risk community. It's love for people you don't even know right now. So let's love by wearing masks. That's how we love first this week.
Yeah, that feels like a big request at first to me, but when I heard how she said it and just asking us to model that and also just to do that she's got the heart of she has a heart for the whole city in mind. That really motivates me to take that step. I admit that. I haven't been doing that. I'm not going out a lot and I'm not being around big crowds, but still, even for if she requested, I want to do it. So some people don't have masks, and that's understandable. And then we have a lot of people in the church that are looking for ways to serve people. And so we kind of thought we'd throw it out there. If you are making masks or know how to start making masks, and you would either like to donate them or maybe sell them, email us at churchmail@southwest.org. We want to put together a list of people who are willing to make masks. And then if you're in need of a mask and you really want to honor this request along with a lot of us, then also let us know at that email address, churchmail@southwest.org. And we're going to get a list of people who need masks. And so we're going to really try to create that momentum and give people an outlet to serve and serve those who are in need of it.
Right. And another way we can help our community, as we said in our Friday Five last week, we mentioned our can trailer, which serves a couple of purposes in our town, serves a couple of purposes. One, in our city, it gives a place for people to bring recyclables, aluminum specifically. And since it's been full, we've gotten tons of calls from people saying, "Hey, where's your can trailer? We want to donate to that." And also, it feeds orphans. It's a great work. It feeds people, orphans in Zimbabwe, who get one meal a day if we're providing it. And so we want to get that back out there. But the problem is right now, Brian, is it's full. Our can trailer is full, and the places that take donations are not currently taking those. So we are looking for, from our church family, another trailer that we can put out there, and it's got to have high sides on it at least, so they don't blow away, because sometimes every once in a while the wind blows in West Texas.
No.
So yeah, I know, it's shocking. So if you have access to a trailer with high sides on it that we could, or that's covered, like a horse trailer or something like that, we'd love to use that for the next couple weeks or so, in collecting cans for our neighbors, from our neighbors, for our world.
And man, this one's personal for me, but it's personal for a lot of people. We don't want to forget our senior class of 2020. They are definitely having a memorable senior year, but not a preferable one. And so this Sunday was supposed to be our senior Sunday, where we honor our seniors. There is a list of those seniors that we have this year in the bulletin online, and it'll be in the Friday Five. But they're not getting the standard fare, which is very just milestone-ish, and they're missing a lot of their milestones in school. So we want to take particular care of our Southwest seniors. Bless the seniors that you know in your life. They've really lost a lot. And of course, they don't want people to, get sick so that they can have their graduation or their prom. But this is a real grieving for them, and it's understandable. They only get one senior year. And so we want to remember them, think of them. And if you have a way to bless them, then go for it. I know they're going to need it. I have a senior in my house. Noel, I know you do too.
I do. I have a senior in my house. Actually, I have two seniors in my house. One's in college and one's in high school, and we are thinking of them. And like you said, I think you said this Sunday was to be Senior Sunday and the Junior Senior Banquet. And just so you know, that we are going to push that, along with the graduations, the local graduations that have been delayed till later in the summer, and hopefully still do something really honoring for them. But right now in May, during this season, honor those seniors, love on those seniors.
Yeah, so, we like to just have a reflection with you during these midweek times together. And I got a text this week that really opens up a pretty relevant question that I wanted us to reflect on. I got a text from someone that said, "While I love that church leaders have been forced into a new way of thinking about what it means to gather and offer lessons and worship through other means, I have to admit that this type of church and gathering does nothing for me. And if I'm honest with you, the past 2 weeks, I've not been able to force myself to watch our Sunday services, or anyone else's for that matter. I don't know what to do about that. It feels unfaithful, but I'm not convinced that it is. Do you have any thoughts?" And so I thought this was a great, honest text, Doyle, that probably taps on a lot of categories of our heart right now.
Yeah. I love the honesty in that text of just saying, "Oh, this doesn't work for me. What's wrong with me? Am I unfaithful?" is a question there that, wow. And so the first thing I would say is grace. That God is a God of grace, and we are a people of grace for each other. So having grace, believing in God's grace for how you are currently engaging in this new thing. And also having grace for the online offerings, that they aren't meeting your needs. So us being a people of grace. And I talked to a woman earlier this week on Sunday, actually, that was wondering if God understood. She was actually in a situation where her church family does not have an online offering. It's a smaller church. She does participate in our online offering, but she was not meeting with her church family. And does God understand? And my message to her was, yes, of course he understands. He understands more than we understand. And she knew that. She just needed reassuring in that God is a God full of grace for you, and we are full of grace for each other.
The grace for each other fits one of the thoughts I've had. And just maybe if we are struggling and being critical of this new form because it doesn't do anything for me, maybe that will help us develop some compassion for the countless numbers of people in our world, not just in our church, but in our world, that we believe all really need Jesus and really need to connect with God. But our normal forms of worship do nothing for them. So I think this could be a great moment of humility to go, oh, yeah, what I've been raised with and am comfortable with, that does a lot for me. But it might be because you've been raised on it, you're comfortable with it, and it does legitimately help you connect with God. Don't begrudge anyone that. But I think it's really important for us to realize that what we like about the forms of worship that we like may not do anything for someone else. So maybe this is a good learning time for us, as we've got to get used to another form.
Yeah. And we have to have patience in all of this. And that's, again, patience with each other and patience with ourselves. Brian, I remember when I was in jazz band in high school, playing drums in jazz band, and I was new to jazz band. I think it was my junior year that I started in jazz band. And our director said, all right, Doyle, I want you to solo. And I mean, I'd played solos in my room, loud and that kind of thing, but I'd never soloed with a band. And it was awful. Like, it was train wreck bad. And I felt like an idiot, and I was embarrassed of it. And he said to me, no, that's how we learn. We do it to learn how to do it. And especially in that kind of thing. And that was even in an improv thing. You have to learn how to improv. And so just have patience with yourself as you're trying to engage in these new ways, that you can do these things. And it's learning how to do these things best. We've learned as a family over the last month how to do things better, how to engage with each other and with God better. So if I would have been just so, angry at the beginning that we just gave up, we need to have patience with each other, with ourselves. And of course, God has patience with us.
Right on. And there's not anyone in the world that's a professional at this. Everyone is like 4 or 5 weeks old on this.
Right.
So even us learning how to engage with worship online, we're all 4 or 5 weeks old, and that's it. The last thing or the biggest thing I should say that I thought of with this question from this friend, it made me reflect on something I've learned that I'm grateful I've learned as we're dealing with online worship. I've learned the secret of getting something out of every worship service that I have ever or will ever participate in. Okay, no matter what form is being used, whether it kind of connects with me naturally or not, I have learned how to get something out of that worship service, whether I prefer the way it's going, whether I like it, whether it resonates with me. And that is, I go with the right heart. A verse that really expresses this is, we talked about it last week actually, but I want to focus in just on one verse in Hebrews 10 verse 22, where it says, let us draw near to God with a sincere heart in full assurance of faith. Okay, so think about it. If you go into a worship service looking for it to connect with you, for them to do a good job, and for it to resonate with you naturally, for it to be the perfect catalyst for you in your style and in your way to connect you to God, then that's putting a lot on a normal worship service, let alone a brand new form. Instead, I want to go to any worship, any Bible class, any devotional thought, anything like that, with a heart that is ready to draw near to God, to go in with sincerity. Like, if I'm just sincere in my heart and I'm in full assurance of faith, I know God's in that sacred act. He always shows up. I always get something out of it. I mean, I think about it that when I draw near to God, that is when I find God, no matter what's going on. Just a quick example, Doyle. I think of like the act of baptism. How culturally relevant is the act of baptism? I mean, if we're expecting the act of baptism by itself to create an experience with God, we're in trouble, right? I mean, in essence, you're asking someone to come up and be dunked with somebody. It's going to get you wet, but the act isn't what's going to give you the experience with God. But if that person being baptized is coming into it with sincerity of heart, if they're coming into it with full assurance of faith that God is in that baptism, if they are coming to that baptism to draw near to God, then they will. And they'll never forget that totally culturally irrelevant experience again, because it's a sacred act. That's what a sacred act is to me. It's a set apart from normal act for the purpose of drawing near to God.
Right. And this, I guess this is why as parents, as parents, with my kids growing up and as a child growing up in my family and church, they always wanted us to pay attention to church. Well, why is that? Well, because they know as maturity comes, it is you leaning in that gets something out of worship. It's not someone meeting you, it's you meeting them. So that's a sign of maturity, to grow to a place where you're engaging for yourself. And it's important, whether we're online or whether we're in the building or whether we're in homes or whether we're in somebody else's building. It's important for us to take that responsibility of engaging ourselves.
Yeah, it's a overquoted statement, but this is the ultimate. You get out of it what you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the ultimate. That's true in all walks of life, whether we're in the circumstances we're in now or not, that spiritually you always get out of it what you put into it. And so that's important, I think, for all of us as we are engaging in online worship. Church, we love you. We love you very much. We hope you're having a good week. Call us if you need us.
Yeah. Bye-bye.